see the evidence?
Well, that's the thing. Everything we've said has happened so far, and they laugh and go, where's the martial law when we have curfews and police in black uniforms and machine guns and face scanning cameras, and they're building FEMA camps, and it's in the mainstream news? I want to be wrong. I don't want to be right. SteveQuayle.com, Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.com, to all the MF affiliates. Shortwave, everybody, we really appreciate you. Steve's been kind enough to go into overdrive for 20 minutes. When the main show ends, you'll have to go to PrisonPlanet.tv to watch the video we're about to play, or you need to go to the audio streams at Infowars.com. It is those streams where the show will continue. Go to Infowars.com and click the main stream. Steve Quayle, you've got 8 minutes. Listen in on these transhumanists, and we'll come back at your take on it and take calls. God bless you all. We'll be right back at Infowars.com and Infowars.com only right now. But right now, here is the mad scientist, transhumanist, right now. We'll go ahead and play this for everybody.
Transhumanism is a movement which advocates the use of emerging technologies to enhance and guide human evolution. The movement itself is public relations. It's a marketing campaign. Its job is to acclimate the public to ideas such as implantable microchips. Now, if you remember, not too long ago, even the existence of implantable microchips was a crazy idea. I mean, these things were unheard of. This is the realm of conspiracy theory. But now let's take a look at the scientists who are developing these technologies that the transhumanists so lovingly talk about.
In 2002, the implant that I had then was positioned in my nervous system here.
Alright, at this point we've accepted the fact that Dr. Warwick put an implant in himself back in 2002. Now let's move on to some more heavy stuff, like the relationship between artificial intelligence machines and humans. Now we all know what happened in the movie Terminator. How do we get around such a problem?
They say, well, perhaps we could avoid this issue by having human beings themselves become Artalex. In practice, that would mean like adding components to your head, more chips on top of chips, sort of thing.
Now wait a minute, I didn't even want to get an implantable microchip in the first place. Now we're talking about brain chips. Putting a chip in my actual brain. You can't tell me that people are actually going to want to do this.
A lot of people who do want to upgrade themselves, no question about that. And there'll be commercial interests and political interests supporting those groups. There's a lot of money to be made here, a lot of power.
I'm not even satisfied with the power structures that are present in this world right now, let alone giving the power of my brain away to somebody. And did you notice the buzzword he used in there, upgrade? As if you're going to be better if you do this?
I mean, imagine you're a parent and your next door neighbor starts going cyborg, right? Starts adding components, and then suddenly the person next door is capable of learning a human language in just like, in seconds.
And this, of course, is the old marketing trick of snob appeal. But this time, your neighbor hasn't bought a new riding mower. He's added a brain chip to his head which allows him to think in ways that you can't even imagine. He's become a super intelligent cyborg. At this point, transhumanism tries to sell you on the concept of abandoning humanity altogether. They want you to become what is known as a post-human. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to keep up in the new society.
But I think when implants become more acceptable, as they are becoming bit by bit, so such people, the humanists that want to stay human, the Terrans maybe, as Hugo would call them, I can't see them ultimately having much power, because at the end of the day, their intellectual capabilities will be so inferior to cyborgs, those that have implants and upgrades, that the cyborgs will be able to outthink the subspecies that still are human.
Ah, so humans are a subspecies now. Can anybody see where this is going? Perhaps you remember Adolf Hitler and his concept of the Übermensch, or the Superman. These guys have a serious God complex. They are sick individuals. But you are even sicker if you choose to follow them.
If in the 30s you met somebody, say you get some boffer, some big hit, if you like, speaking on the radio in the 30s, saying pretty soon, 5-10 years into the future, it will be possible to build one bomb so powerful that it could wipe out a whole city. Well, most people would just laugh at it, think the guy's a nutcase. But the nuclear physicists of that time were starting to speculate about the possibility of a chain reaction.
Of course, all the simple-minded naysayers didn't even believe that it could be possible. But those brilliant scientists proved by the sheer power of the will that it could be done. And now, of course, we're being forced into the next step of this scientific evolutionary process, which ends up with a clash between Terrans, aka humans, and cyborgs / AI intelligence machines.
They're not just prepared to see like millions of people die, like in a conventional type war. They're prepared to risk the whole species dies out, billions of people. So that the Terrans can easily justify their actions, you know, when push really comes to shove, as I see it, to just wipe them out.
So, as you can see, Dr. DeGaris isn't too concerned with the complete destruction of humanity. In fact, he seems quite pleased with the idea. And who am I to question his opinion anyway? After all, he is an expert, and we're supposed to listen to experts. Let's hear more of his brilliant ideas and concepts.
So imagine a young woman, she's just given birth, and then she needs to make the decision. Is she going to have her baby modified? Is she going to turn that baby into a cyborg, or effectively an artellect? So say she decides to do that. So this, hypothetically, this grain of sand, in a sense, that's been nanoteched, is inserted into the human brain, the baby's brain, and it integrates itself into the brain. So that baby, in effect, is no longer human. So that woman, in a sense, has killed her baby. Killed in the sense the baby is no longer human. It's effectively an artellect. It's an artellect in human disguise.
Okay, first hydrogen bombs and now killing babies. This is the kind of expert I should be listening to. Now let's see what Dr. Warwick says about anybody who has the audacity to actually resist this.
So the future for an ordinary everyday human, I guess there'll be some sort of subspecies, just like we have cows now, so we'll have humans in the future. There'll be other creatures, other species, cyborgs, intelligent machines that are the dominant life forms on Earth. And as a cyborg, if a human came to see me and it starts making silly noises, a bit like a cow does now. If a cow comes to me and says, moo, 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 I'm not going to say, yeah, that's a great idea, I'm going to do what you tell me. So it will be with a human. They'll come in and start making these silly noises that we call speech and human language and so on. And these trivial noises, I'm not going to do those silly things. Why should I? This creature's absolutely stupid in comparison to me.
And there you have the transhumanist sales pitch, brought to you, of course, by the experts. And if you didn't know, transhumanism is just the new face of eugenics, which you should look into. All this talk about super intelligence and how great it's going to be a cyborg is simply bait. This is an advertisement. Don't believe it for 1 second. This time, your brain is the product, and how can you possibly put a price on that? The fact of the matter is, you don't get to program the brain chip, so how do you know what it does? The general public hasn't been made aware of the transhumanist movement yet, but it's my contention that the mass marketing of this movement will happen in the near future. Consider this video a forewarning. The transhumanists also push the concept of downloading consciousness into a computer. This makes the concept of the movie The Matrix a reality. I'm not even going to try to explain the reasons why that's a bad idea. Let's just hear what Dr. Warwick has to say about it.
Then if a machine is passing down signals that keep you completely happy, then why not be part of the Matrix? I really do think Neo in the Matrix trying to destroy things, he's a bit of a party pooper. Life for humans in a Matrix could be really cool.
Well, I can just see it now, Alex. Peer group pressure making us into all iborgs, okay? you package it instead of just iPods like in pod people, then we turn into iBorgs like individual cyborgs. You see, again, it is a total mind-controlling exercise. It absolutely manifests itself in contempt for human life. The idea that Warwick's been basically, in my opinion, either drinking or smoking the wrong stuff for way too long. His arguments are childish for someone who's as famous as he is. And the point is that, well, just because one of his statements, okay, heck, if that's all you got to do is be happy all the time, what's wrong with that? That's okay for transhumanism. Transhumanism is eugenics. And people have to understand that a group of people that sit around deciding whether you live or die, that decision's already been made. You and I spoke, Alex, years ago when all the databases were being violated, when they were being corrupted, when they were being stolen, the computers, laptops. The whole point is, did you ever wonder who is behind that all? See, this is the transhumanist. This is Satan's attempt at being all